The Blocktalk podcast started because of my passion for the property management industry. I wanted to start a conversation and add some value within the industry with a diverse range of people and professionals who can add something extra. As we start out, my aim is that the podcast offers some useful insight into a variety of views, opinions, thoughts, and foresights from our guests, who include business leaders and industry experts. If you enjoy the podcast and want to find out any other information, head on over to brianwelsh.co.uk. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blocktalk podcast. This is a special episode we do every quarter. It's with me, Brian Welsh, our professional services director, Crawford and our technical director, Will McAvoy, and our head of marketing, Jaxx Bruce. So this is where we talk about what's coming up in our quarterly newsletter. It's kind of a bit of a Clientcast, talk about what we've been up to, what's been happening, what's on the cards for the next quarter, and generally how things are going. Right, so I'm going to pick up on what's happened in the last quarter. Okay, so we were invited to Crawford and I were invited to the Property Managers Association Scotland Golf Day down in West Kilbride by James Gibb. Has to be said that Crawford's golf was appalling, utterly. Mine was reasonably okay until the 18th, and when I couldn't get past the ladies' tee, unfortunately, which was not overly good, but it was a good day. The weather was good from a heat and sun point of view, but it was blowing a bloody gale utterly. So it was quite difficult round the golf, actually. So what else has happened in the last quarter? We had a professional services away day where all the PS team and Will joined or met up down in Hampshire, actually. So Crawford will talk a wee bit more about that later on. What else happened? So every one of our teams. So we're investing heavily in training and anything else we need to do for our teams at CPL at the moment. And one of the things they have is everyone now has a PDP, a personal development plan, which is all about making sure that every quarter that they have a goal that they set and then they attempt to achieve from a development point of view. Now that could be, mine's all around mental health and NLP in this quarter, in the first quarter of our financial year, that is. Our year end is the end of March, so that's kind of April, May, June time. Crawford's was to learn more about the financial side of CPL, and Will's was to investigate things about agile development and these sort of things. So it's one of those things you've got to invest in your team, and it's a big part of who we are. For a business that has 20 people, or 20 people now, we have a head of people and culture, Helen, who's fabulous and really does bring all of this sort of stuff to the forefront of our minds and make sure that we're accountable and make sure it happens. So it's all been really, really good for the last quarter. And we've had a lot of training actually to do in the last quarter. Caroline's been really busy doing that sort of stuff as well. So that's kind of what we've been doing for the last quarter. Team news. We've had 5 new hires in the last quarter. So in our dev teams, now we split our dev teams to look after the core product and then the stuff that sits beside that, and also sort of CPL3, which we need to find a new name for, which we'll talk about in a minute as well. We have the core product, and then we have a team that looks after web portals and CPL3 and Blockworks and all of these sort of things. So in the CPL3 team, we had Dan join. He's already doing brilliantly, actually. He's been really, really great. So he joined us. And in the CPL2 team, we had Opie and Malik join us as well. And they're getting up to speed. They've only been with us for about a month each, isn't it?
I think it's a bit longer than that now. Yeah, time does go really quickly.
Wow,
so, I think at least probably 2 months.
Oh wow!
More accurate, to be fair.
Yeah, so they joined us. So that's bolstered our dev team, and the whole reason for doing that. Well, we'll come on to some stuff later on about what we're doing in the product. But the whole point of doing that is to fast track development. I think when you get a bit older, if someone says, like me, when someone says it's going to take a year to develop something, it's just like, no, can we have it quicker, please? So the only way to do that is to throw people at it. So, and also in our sport team, we have a new team lead in Damien, who's based in our Glasgow office. So he joined us within the last month.
Yep.
I got that one correct. And Tunde as well, who's based down south, actually. She's not far from, I guess she's about an hour from the Southampton office, but works from home anyway. She joined us at the same time as Damien as well, and she comes from a technical background as well. So great hires, and they're getting on with their training as well. So all good fun. And we have another hire coming on in July, Tom, who's joining us as our BDM, so our business development manager. He's coming in to do new business sales, to leave Crawford to concentrate on account management and looking after our current client base. So I'll shut up now, and Crawford, no, got that totally wrong. Will give us an update on where we are with CPL, just kind of core product stuff.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, thank you. So the CPL, we call it the CPL desktop app, as we're still calling the web-based version CPL 3. So call it the CPL desktop app. So we've been busy testing version 5.9.14, and that's just past testing now, which has been quite a big project for us. And we've been through a lot of the features a few times now to make sure they are spot on, and we're really happy with the quality of this release. So looking forward to getting that out. So we're looking to roll that out in July, and that includes brand new feature called plan maintenance, and that aims to cut down on a lot of the work around instructing repeated work month on month or quarter on quarter for the CPL users. So that's now finished. That's ready for release. So the team are really happy to see that ready to go out. And then we'll now start and work on implementation of Go Cardless. So that's another direct debit system that CPL is going to integrate with. And that will be both via the desktop app and also by the client web portal. So it's going to allow CPL customers to use Go Cardless as their direct debit payment provider, which boasts quite a few benefits, including the ability to collect direct debits on any day, and also the ability for owners to sign up themselves via the web portal for a direct debit plan, which we do offer as well, but this will be offering that via Go Cardless. So yeah, they're working on that now, and we'll be looking to include that in a release in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to pick up one thing with the Go Cardless thing as well, the other thing about that is it's totally automatic, so it's completely doesn't require any user intervention. So at the moment, you need to run a kind of a DD run on a monthly basis when you want it. So if you do DDs on 3 days in a month, after running 3 times, you won't need to run this at all. It's all completely automated, and our software hooks in and then checks when the DD has actually been taken, and then drops it back into the client account. So yeah, all fully automated.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's quite right. Yeah, that's
so CPL 2. Okay, cool. Thanks, Will. Right. So I guess we should talk about housing associations. Who's talking about that?
You are.
Okay, good. I'm glad I remembered that. Just thought I'd give anyone else a chance if they want to do it. So yeah, this is a funny one actually, because we have a number of housing associations use our software, and it's certainly a market for us. But I don't know what's happened, but we seem to be getting an inordinate amount of inbound leads. I think I mentioned this on the last Clientcast actually. Yeah, a good number of inbound leads from housing associations at the moment, at far exceeding any that we've kind of taken, in previous years. So that's all brilliant for us. And the one thing about housing associations is their factoring element tends to be not a huge part of the overall business. And people who write housing management systems tend to concentrate a huge amount of their effort on the housing management part, as they should, because at the end of the day, that's probably 97% of what that housing association does. But what it does is it means that the factoring side just gets forgotten about. And you know, if people start taking on staff, if housing associations start taking off on staff from private factors, and they come in and look at that, you know, they know what software is available elsewhere because they've used CPL before, so they're it's almost a backward step for them. So really problematic in some ways. So yeah, well, hopefully the next. Well, it certainly looks like in the next kind of couple of years for us is going to be huge amount of that business or work that we're going to be doing will hopefully be with from what we've been told is certainly a good possiability. Okay, sorry, fly around the room, and I'm trying to get rid of the bloody big one as well. Okay, right, so we need to talk about CPL3. So we've got two sides of this. So from a dev point of view, talk about CPL3.
So yeah, this has been a project we've been working on for the past year, and a lot of the work we've done already was just on our framework. So basically building the foundation of the product so that it does everything we want it to do and behaves in the way we want it to do. That's now complete for the most part. Everything we needed to do has been done. So now we're starting on the features. So what it's actually going to do for our users. So we're starting on the modules for phase 1, and some of those include the case tracking. So that's a system that will allow you to track a client's case or communication. So it will track that from first contact with you right up until that case is resolved. And that doesn't just have to be clients, it could be anybody who contacts you and you want to create a case for that. So it could be potentially with a contractor or another third party. We've also got a new calendar that we're going to be adding into this product. So that's going to be a way for a user to see all of their tasks, reminders, cases that might have due dates on them in one place in a nice calendar control, a nice calendar view. That will also tie in nicely to another feature we're making called user tasks, which is a way for specific tasks to be set up against a user that might link to CPL records, such as a client email this client about these details, or maybe to chase up a contractor on a quote or anything in between. And that again will all be included in the calendar system. And the plan is for these user tasks to be sort of integrated with most new features that we write, and also the current features that we're going to update as well and bring into the new product in the future. And then finally, we're also working on a meetings module that's going to allow users to set up meetings, which could be development meetings or maybe contractor meetings. Those again will appear in the calendar, be linked to certain records in CPL that they're relevant to, and users will be able to fill out those meeting forms while they're in the meeting through their mobile phone or tablet. And at that point, they can also raise these user tasks. So if any actions come out of that meeting, they can be captured straight away, and you'll know that they're going to be in hand because they'll already be in your system waiting for you when you get back. So yeah, we're working on those. That's going to take us up towards the end of this. Well, at the end of the year, end of the summer, I guess we could say, when we're going to be looking to release the first version of it for our sort of early adopters, early users that can get access to that. So yeah, we're really excited. It's already well underway. We've already started to write a fair chunk of this, and we're just keeping on continuing with that momentum.
Good. You know, it looks fab. Crawford and I have had a demo, and it does look great. Crawford, do you want to talk about CPL3?
Yeah,
for a bit as well.
I think the really exciting thing about CPL3, apart from the fact that Will's pretty much done the entire sales job around what it is and how it works and everything else, that because you can tell from a tech director's perspective, he's quite excited about the product. But as Brian said, you know, we saw the interface for the first time just a couple of weeks ago, and it does. I mean, it looks great. Everything around CPL. Everything around CPL3, and the name is up for discussion. We do have a £250 Amazon voucher draw, which goes on the back of your tickets. every month. So if anybody's getting suggestions, by all means, chuck it in there, and we'll review any ideas that anybody might have around the name. It might be quite an interesting one on the back of your support tickets. But no, the whole point of CPL3, apart from the fact that it's a web interface, is that your property managers or your CRMs, whatever terminology you use for them, will literally have a CPL product that they will be able to use in the field, provided they have internet connectivity, that will give them a web interface with real-time data specific to the development they're attending. So give them a list of any of the actions which have been outstanding, say, from the last meeting. It would give them a calendar feature functionality as well, says, which allows them to look at when their next planned meetings are, whether those be AGMs, contractor meetings, or on-site meetings with resident associations. That whole interface from an end user perspective, the fact that it's web-based just takes all of that rich functionality we have inside CPL and puts it on the web. So I think that will be a massive plus for people who are out in the field, and everything we're doing is client facing around CPL3. So when it gets to the point that the dev guys are ready for us to to literally start demoing it, we will plan to have a user group. So we will do that, as well said, hopefully modules all in a state where we can demonstrate them towards the end of the summer, kind of September, early September, October kind of time. So we'll get a user group in the diary. We'll get invites out to people, anybody that wants to see CPL3 Enterprise, Battlestar Galactica, whatever the heck we decide is going to be a good name for it. But, not that, obviously, because that doesn't have the letters BW in it. I don't know.
Obviously.
It has to be some connotation of BW in there for the name. So, we'll get a user group, we'll get a bunch of people in a room, we'll let everybody see it for the first time so that we can get some feedback, obviously, from the users. But yeah, no, really looking forward to it. And I think this is, again, it's another one of those just pieces in the jigsaw around CPL about how we can bring added value to our client base.
Yep, no, I entirely agree with that. It's been a long time in the making, but we're getting close now. So, did you want to talk, Crawford, about the PS Away Day that you had?
Yeah, I mean, we took, so as Brian said as part of his intro, we took the PS team away to a hotel down in Hampshire for a couple of nights, and we literally looked at all of our existing processes. We looked at our skill set. We looked at our comms. Helen did an absolutely fabulous job of facilitating a full kind of day and a half with just crikey, stiflingly hot weather down south in a really lovely hotel. And it was, it was fabulous for a number of different reasons. But one of the really, really encouraging things was that we got all of us into a meeting on a face-to-face basis, which is something that we don't, everybody looks kind of back and reflects on everything that happened through COVID. But for a lot of businesses, what it has driven is the fact that a lot of people no longer go into the office on a regular basis. Now, the PS team are split between Glasgow, Southampton, Reading, Harrogate, Birmingham. I mean, it sounds like that. What was that song by the Beautiful South? Liverpool, Rotterdam, everywhere in Rome, and all that kind of stuff. So it's the same kind of idea where the team's sort of split all over the country. So to get everybody together for that sort of day and a half, 2 days, was absolutely fabulous, and it was really, really beneficial. The couple of things that have come out of it that, from a client perspective, you'll start to see is there are some changes to our operating procedures in terms of support, changes in terms of how we triage and look at tickets, changes in how we will ask you to raise tickets. And I'll get all of this out to people on an email in the next couple of weeks once Helen and I have had a chance to review the document that's been generated on the back of that. But hopefully what that means is once we get Tunde and Damien up to speed with regards to support and the training that they're getting at the moment, that should mean that overall, from a client experience, we should be delivering far better in terms of ticket results, ticket response times, ticket turnarounds, and that will also help align really well with the way Will's now delivering development in terms of CPL2. So his turnaround for sprints and then getting releases out the door should allow us to align with that and then just deliver a far better client experience overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's quite exciting. I mean, I do, I think it's quite exciting times.
It does sound it. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, from the standard operating procedures point of view, I think that's a great thing. And Helen's going to be looking at all of our processes internally. In fact, she's now agreed to come. She's only 2 days a week, but she agreed to come on 3 days a week, so that she can look at all of those processes and things like that as well. I mean, she's lean qualified and all of these sort of things. So, or lean certified, I think is the phrase. But anyway, so no, she's very good. She's very good. I'm glad she agreed to come on board. Okay, the only other thing I think we need to talk about is the podcast in general. So, Jaxx, give us an update.
Yes, so we've been doing quite a bit on Blocktalk Explorers, which is a sort of special series of the podcast, which centres around 3 main areas. The 3 of those are education awareness of what property factors do, recruitment within the industry, and customer care. So we split up those 3 areas into 3 different podcasts, and we ship them out. The education awareness and recruitment in week 1 and customer care in week 2. And we've been speaking to industry leaders about their thoughts on each of those specific areas. So just this week we've recorded with Karen Trickett, who is a new recruit really to the industry, isn't she?
CEO of Newton, yeah.
And it was a really, really good chat with her. It was good to have a female voice. Being biased, but I do always feel like women have a slightly different viewpoint sometimes to the male voice. So it was good to hear her speak about the 3 areas, and that'll be going live in I think it's about the middle of July. We've had David Doran, Derek McDonald, David Reed's coming up.
David been on again. Oh God. Again.
Callum Blair, Laura Bradley, and Audrey Murphy, who we've not had on before. And Callum's not been on before either, I don't think. Aside from Blocktalk Explorers, we've had our usual Blocktalk podcast. We've had Ronald Daly on, who was the PMES Awards Property Manager of the Year. And we had Hugh McGregor on from Cycling Scotland talking about some of the challenges that are being faced from a housing association perspective, but we also looked at it generally from a property management perspective, and the shift towards more people actually taking up cycling, especially, I guess, in city areas. So that was a good chat for anyone that wants to learn more about that. We've also got staying on the housing association side. We've got a digital guy from the SFHA on soon, and we also have Andrew Bowman on again, taking the place of Nigel Glenn from the TPI, because Nigel's no longer with them. So it'll be good to have Andrew on again as well too.
Excellent. Well, a full packed agenda for Blocktalk, which is great because I love doing it. It's immense fun. It's great hearing what people's views are on things, and it's always great to get Jaxx to cut out all my cock-ups, which she's threatening to put together in a one podcast of Brian's outtakes. No, I don't. I'm not doing it.
Christmas special.
No, not
Christmas special. It'll be all right on the night.
So, thank you for listening. Shit, I'm getting out of here quickly. Thank you for listening. Does anyone else have anything else they want to talk about?
Yeah.
No. Right. Thanks very much for listening. Cheers.